Good to have you coming down the road with us. A couple of things we're going to do today. We're going to head up to Williston, get a chance to visit with Rob and Travers. A lot of things happening in Williston right now. The new airport, direct flight to Vegas, some of the things that has the town abuzz. We're going to head to Philadelphia and get a chance to visit with Betsy Ross House, one of the huge attractions out there. We're also going to get a chance to talk about cybersecurity today at some point, and that's being talked about at the G7 summit. But this is a real treat for me. If you go in my garage where I hang out with a bunch of people all the time, what you're going to see is you're going to see a bunch of Viking things on the wall, and you're going to see a bunch of Yankee things on the wall. For all you Twins fans, you're going to say, yep, that's exactly the guy you are, Heitkamp. You're a Yankee fan and not a Twins fan. Well, I don't apologize for that. My dad was a Yankee fan, and he raised me to be a Yankee fan. And a huge part of that was the fact that Roger Maris was a Yankee. Roger Maris is someone that you're going to see his photo up around my place a lot because I look at what he went through and I look at what he was able to accomplish in spite of what he had to go through to achieve all of that. It's a real treat for me then to get a chance to visit with Roger Maris Jr. Mr. Maris, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Hey, Joel, great to be on.
Now, it's Roger Maris All-Star Week. It's beginning today. Tell people what that's all about.
Well, it's a big week for us. We've been doing this now. We've had a golf tournament up here we've been running for 36 years. We're now in our 37th year, and we've been raising money for some different things up here, one of them obviously being the Cancer Center. And we just felt there was something bigger that we could do to create awareness for cancer and to raise money for research and the services at the Cancer Center. So we thought we could make this a whole week of events, all week long, and just touch different people in the community other than golfers. And we wanted to kind of get with the youth and do some things for the youth. So we have camps we're running all week long that are free for the kids that they don't have to pay a dime for it. And they get to come out and they get to get good coaching we got high school coaches, college coaches, travel ball coaches. They're going to be involved with them throughout the week. We've also got Roger Maris throwback night at the Red Hawk Stadium on Friday night. We have a block party that's going to be a big community event downtown on Thursday night. And hopefully we'll get everybody down there just kind of celebrating and enjoying this whole week. And then we have our golf tournament that'll be on Thursday. And we have 2 rounds at Rose Creek, which is a scramble like we've always done, but we added a new twist to it this year. We have a 9-hole event at Osgood Golf Course, which will be for people that maybe don't want to play 18 holes. There's a lot of 9-hole golfers these days, and then people who just don't have the time to come out and take 18 holes of golf out of their day. So got that happening. We got baseball, Roger Maris Invitational starting on Friday. That'll run through the weekend, and I have a home run derby Saturday night. So just a lot of action happening this week, and hopefully we're creating a lot of awareness for the Cancer Center and the devastating disease of cancer, and hopefully raise a lot of money for the Cancer Center for the research and the services at the Cancer Center.
Well, you probably already know this from having so many friends and family up in this neck of the woods, but there isn't anyone up here that, unfortunately, doesn't have an experience with the Roger Maris Cancer Center, whether it's to go visit a family member, whether it's to rely on them to do what they do best, or whether, in my particular case, it involves losing someone and them doing the absolute best they could and making it last as long as what it could. And so when you look at that Roger Maris Cancer Center and you're talking to members of your family, that's got to be one of the real proud legacies that you have.
Well, Dad obviously had a great baseball legacy, and a lot of great things happened in baseball, but I really do believe that in the long haul, this will be his legacy. The Cancer Center is just getting bigger and bigger, and they're doing a lot more and more. And, we now have the stem cell transplant coming on board. So when people now go to the Roger Maris Cancer Center, we can handle everything. So when you come there, you don't have to leave. You can be treated from A to Z all the way through. And, we've bought the hotel across the street to where people come in and need to stay there for their stem cell transplants stuff, that they'll have a whole house where they can be not having to worry about going back and forth. Because as you probably know, this isn't something that just happens in one day, 1 week. It's usually months and could be up to 6 months. So it'll help them with that. And there's just a lot of good things going on over there that are happening. But the big thing is now when people come there, they don't have to leave. They can be fully treated here. So the people at Fargo don't have to leave Fargo to go get their treatments.
Well, I got a really good friend who rang the bell, and you know what that means at the Roger Maris Cancer Center. When they ring that bell and the whole staff is applauding, it's a real accomplishment.
Yeah, you're a survivor at that point, and yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a real honor to know that's happening over there.
Obviously, your dad has a rich history at Shanley. That's one of the places you are today. Tell people that, tell them what you're doing at Shanley.
Well, today I'm over here at Shanley because we start the camp this week. We actually start Roger Maris Week here at Shanley, and we're running some football camps over here for the youth. And so we're over here doing that today, and getting the kids a little coached up and getting them involved in some football, and trying to get them aware of what happens here in town with the Roger Maris Week.
When you look at and go back in time and hear about your dad being a high school student at Shanley, did he ever talk to you about it? Did he ever talk about the fact that baseball wasn't his only love in life?
Well, actually, he met his wife here, so he did have another love here at Shanley. So my mom and dad actually met here, but no, he loved Shanley. They both love Shanley. They have nothing but great things, and they've had lifelong friends that they've kept in touch with from Shanley. So it was obviously a great experience for them. And I don't know if you know, but when he was here playing football, he actually returned 4 kickoffs for touchdowns in one game. And that's actually a high school record. So that was, I guess, his claim to fame of being here. But yeah, there was no baseball here at the time he was here. He basically just played Legion ball. And, when he's here at Shanley, he just did the football and the basketball and ran track. And he had to wait till Legion ball in the summer to get his baseball in.
Well, I refereed for years high school and college football. And to say, I don't know if you remember, it got talked about a lot. And it still does get talked about a lot by some of the old football guys who remembered it really well. I want to applaud you for it not just being the golf tournament and including the kids on all this, because there's such a lesson for the kids to learn about how your dad handled himself. I had the pleasure of meeting him once. He was just so approachable. He was so, he gave me all the time he wanted as somebody who, more or less grew up looking at your dad as the hero that he really was to me as a baseball player. And, I don't think your family hears that enough of how great he was and how much time he would give to somebody who just walked up and talked to him.
Well, we're very well aware of that because we've always watched him and we've been around him. And that's just who he was, and that's how he, conducted himself. And, and we've always admired that part about him. And so what you're saying is it's accurate, and that's who he was. And I think that's why so many people looked up to him and resonated with him.
Did he talk about baseball a lot?
Nope. No, that was nothing we really talked about ever. He never ever brought up baseball. And I guess the reason why is because, when you're a celebrity like that, you're always around people who want to ask you about baseball. So, so for me, I was around him so much, and everybody wanted to talk to him about baseball and his career and this and that. So pretty much everything I learned was listening to him tell other people, or them people telling him stories about this or that they remember or they experienced or whatever. So, but when we sat around, we never did talk baseball. He pretty much got involved in our lives. Yeah. So as a kid,
I'm sorry, Roger.
No, and as a kid, you just, you're kind of doing your own thing and everything else. And you've heard, every time you're with him, people are telling stories about him and asking him questions. And then you see the interviews and everything else. So you kind of sort of already know everything in a sense. So you don't really ask a whole lot, I guess. It's kind of weird when you really think back. Like, we really didn't sit around and talk about baseball. We kind of talked about life, more than anything else.
Your mom wasn't like that either, was she? I mean, your mom didn't kind of wear that on her sleeve. She just looked at that as a time in their life. I mean, she didn't talk a lot about baseball either.
No, she didn't have time. We had 6 kids, 6 kids, and a dad playing baseball. So no, she was quite the busy woman. But yeah, no, Yeah, we didn't sit around and talk about baseball. She didn't talk about baseball. It's not what we did. They were both so involved in our lives that, baseball wasn't something that they, he wasn't one to sit around and relish on things he accomplished or he did. And, he wasn't a boastful guy as far as, sitting around trying to tell you about what he did or how great he was. So it was pretty much his focus was on us.
Did you as a family travel around with him? Was there a home base where you were growing up, or like when he went from New York, did you move to St. Louis, or did you just, he came and went from where you were living?
Yeah, so he played with the Kansas City A's before New York, and so we lived in Kansas City, built a home there, made some good friends there, and then when he got traded to New York, he didn't want us to leave. So he pretty much wanted us to stay in Kansas City, and my mom was very comfortable there. So we just stayed there for the rest of his career until he got traded to St. Louis, which happened to be only 3.5 hours from Kansas City. And so we'd spend the summers in St. Louis, and in the big weekend series, we'd go to St. Louis the last 2 years he played.
Yeah, that had to be something. It really did. So the reason that we asked you to come on was to talk about Roger Maris Week, and by now everybody's saying, okay, how can I, just as a fan or an average Joe, how can I participate? So tell people one more time how they can come out. If nothing else, just watch.
Well, there's a camp. So if you have kids, if you've signed up, at Roger Maris, RogerMarisWeek.com, as long as they've signed up, they're welcome to come to the camps for free. And we have the block party on Thursday night that hopefully we'll see everybody down there just kind of getting together and celebrating, cancer, and the hard work that's being done with the Cancer Center to try to get rid of this disease, So we'll have that going on. You can come participate in the golf tournament on Thursday. We got 3 rounds, 2 at Rose Creek and 1 over at Osgood. And in the baseball tournament this weekend, it will be starting on Friday, going through Sunday. You can come out and support that, or Roger Maris night on Friday night at the Red Hawk Stadium.
Roger, this is a real treat for me. I appreciate you taking the time, and I hope you have a great time this week up in the Fargo-Moorhead area.
Well, thanks for having me on, Joel. Pleasure talking to you, and have a great week.
You bet. Thank you. When we come back, folks, we're going to get a chance to head to Williston and talk about all the great things they have going on there. Right here as we continue down the road.
Howdy, folks. It's a Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay Boston breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the game. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the County Line.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing, because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark.
Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close.
Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee.
We'll even ship them to you free.
This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Attention, have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Elmiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
I get a chance to work with our next guest, well, all the time, quite frankly. We count on each other. I'll give her a holler and say, Robin, what the heck is going on in Williston? I heard this or I heard that. And she'll call down to our shop and say, you don't miss this story. And so she's really part of our news team as well. And that's Robin Travers with KEYZ Radio 660 in Williston. Robin, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Joel, it's good to travel down the road with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
You know, Robin, Williston, it seems like every other day something's happening that makes you go, wow. And what I like the most is if I go to Williston and I tell Sue that I'm going to be there for a week working, now I can hop a plane and go to Vegas, and maybe she doesn't even know I went through Sun Country. Tell people about this.
Well, it really, Williston, the longer I live here, really is a special place, Joel, and very, very big week on a number of fronts last week. And so we were invited, media was invited to a surprise announcement. We had a little tickler here or there from the mayor that something was brewing at the airport. And as it turns out, we had a very special day last Tuesday where Airport Executive Director Anthony Dudas made the big announcement that we are finally getting a leisure carrier here at XWA, and that is Sun Country, flying to nonstop, mind you, to Vegas, baby.
I loved hearing that. And I've met Anthony a number of times, and he's this young man, ladies and gentlemen, that does an absolutely fabulous job, and where he quite frankly was brilliant, and the people that are leaders in that community, Howard Klug and others, as Robin pointed out, is they got a new airport built, and they got it done right before COVID struck. And of course, everybody knows what happened with air travel when COVID struck. It basically shut down. And so how excited, was the whole community when it came to seeing somebody saying, we'll take a direct flight. We'll go in there, we'll pick them up, and we'll take them to Vegas. I mean, you don't do that unless you have people that are going to want to travel, unless you've done some research. So how excited was the whole community?
Very excited. Here at 660, we're taking bets. Will it be Florida? Will it be Vegas? Will it be Allegiant? Will it be, all of that kind of thing? And my boss and dear friend, our operations director, Scott Haugen, said, because he's doing some research, right? He goes, well, their hub is Minneapolis. You're probably still going to have to stop there to get to Vegas. I said, I don't think so. I think if this is going to be struck, it's going to be nonstop. So I won that bet.
I know Scott, so make sure you remind him to pay. It's one thing to win a bet. It's another thing for people to pay up. So you got to keep that in mind. And it won't shock me, Robin, if we're having this same conversation close to fall and we find out you've got a nonstop flight to Arizona because of a lot of people in our areas that go to Arizona. So did you ever ask the team about that? You could make me double down on the bet here.
Right. Well, it's funny because Scott's dad lives in Arizona, and he's hoping to see him for Father's Day. And so there was some question about that, and some of the social media traffic was like, wow, there are a lot of snowbirds from Williston who it just so happens have digs in Arizona. Like there's like a Williston, Arizona contingent. So hopefully that will be in the offing. I do have to say, on behalf of Airport Director Anthony Dudas and the mayor, that true to their word, this has been, a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes. And this has been, to quote Anthony Dudas, years in the making between different air carriers to launch a leisure travel opportunity. And Vegas was a destination that many people had talked about. And Sun Country, they were able to strike the deal with Sun Country. So hopefully Arizona is not too far in the future.
Yeah, and you know, with the airport that you have built, it will not shock me. And I just want to tell our viewers this. You know, I have been to every airport in North Dakota that does commercial flight, every one, right down to Jamestown, which isn't exactly one of the hubs, but you know what? They do have commercial flights into Jamestown and Devil's Lake. And I have to tell you that Williston is second to none in their facility. When Anthony and others got this built, they had a vision for what they wanted it to be. And there's no doubt the oil industry drove with the FAA, you know, the fact that they could do this. Because you got some players, Robin, that fly into that town on a daily basis.
We absolutely do. I can't begin to like necessarily name them, but there are some big players just from the little bit that, you know, the mayor tells me. And it is oil country. And I have to stress too, because this was driven home a number of times Tuesday and moving forward, that we really work to be a regional, to serve the region. So we never forget about our friends and neighbors and colleagues in eastern Montana. The Canadian border is, I guess, roughly 80 miles away. So we really are working to serve the region, and we appreciate the travelers that come to Williston and now don't have to travel as far as Minot or Bismarck.
Yeah. Well, clearly that's true. I want to talk about the use of the STAR Fund when the area of natural gas. First thing you hopefully can do for our audience, Robin, is tell people what the STAR Fund is.
So the STAR Fund is an arm, if you will, of the Williston Economic Development Department and the Small Business Development Center. And the two gentlemen leading the team there would be our executive director for Williston Economic Development, Sean Wenko, and Keith Olson is over the Small Business Development Center. So this fund is comprised of a number of loan packages, if you will, and grant money. So it's called the STAR Fund. It's not that it stands for anything in particular, but that it is for stars. It's for up-and-coming businesses. It's for business expansion. It's for community growth opportunities. So you've got a number of packages in there, depending on what you're seeking to do, that can basically get you financing. And that's really the layman's term of how that works. So in some cases, you're looking at low interest loans, or you're looking at buy downs of your loans and getting an interest rate of like 1% to 2% with the Bank of North Dakota and your local lender. So the STAR Fund connects all those dots to help people and entities finance their dreams, really. I've seen nothing like it in the places that I've lived.
Yeah, which, I mean, you have moved around the country, and you and your husband have gone and held multiple jobs. And so to now be news director and to be able to see something like this and say you haven't seen it before tells me that there's quite a vision as well. Want to talk about what you're going to use it for and what the latest announcement's been when it comes to natural gas. Robin, walk people through what you reported.
Okay, so we had a little bit of I speak with Williston Mayor Howard Klug weekly. We have our weekly chat. He's been kind enough to come live on the air once a week since COVID struck, and we've just kind of continued that pattern. And so he gave us a little nod that there was an energy player who had made application to the Star Fund, and the Bank of North Dakota is in for a sizable piece as well. But they were looking to avail themselves of what's called the PACE program. So that's, again, one of those financial packages for a low-interest loan buy-down to purchase a building here. And so the mayor didn't say, he did say it was Crusoe Energy, but he didn't say it was necessarily going to go through, because the city commission always has to approve the applications. And generally what happens at a commission meeting, and this happens the first commission meeting of every month, Sean Wenko will go and he'll basically, and after the paperwork has been filed, he'll basically make the case for, this is a good thing for the community. Can it have your approval? So we knew the week before June 8th that Crusoe Energy had applied, and we knew what they were seeking to do. And that is capture flared natural gas and repurpose it, use it to drive modular mobile computing systems at well sites, and possibly things like powering Bitcoin mining. So it's just huge opportunity for the area, and a way to use that flared gas to basically help the environment as well. So last Tuesday, it got the thumbs up. And according to the mayor in a subsequent conversation, the building that they are moving into, they already have crews there taking down old signage, moving equipment in. So this thing is on the fast track to be rooted right here in Williston.
Okay. And for those of you who haven't flown into Williston, like I have, if you would have seen it not that many years back, it glowed. There was so much natural gas being burnt off at these well sites that it was absolutely, it was kind of, breathtaking, because you'd say, wow, look at that. And then your next reaction was, what a loss. I mean, what a waste of energy gone. And so to see the Star Fund and to see private business come and ask the Star Fund for some bucks to do this, I think it's good for the whole country. It's a clean burning fuel, Robin. And so I think this is visionary.
And you hit the nail on the head. We've heard words like visionary, innovative, and, I knew nothing about this company until I got a little bit of the skinny from the mayor, did a little bit of research, and they are, corporate is in Denver, Colorado, and they've been a big player in doing just these types of things, taking this flared natural gas, turning it around, and have it be power for something else. And so the fact that the Star Fund's taking a risk, the Bank of North Dakota is taking a risk, and we're bringing in Crusoe Energy, these are players that, this is not in my wheelhouse, but they must really feel confident that it's going to do what they say it's going to do. It's going to turn a profit, right, and help the environment, just as you pointed out.
Robin, I'll keep listening to you on 660. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on.
Anytime, Joel. Thank you.
Does a fabulous job. Lisa Moulder's going to join us. We're going to get a chance to visit with her. We're heading to Philly. Going to talk about the Betsy Ross House right after this.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new KEYZ Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow KEYZ Dream sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com. Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed, soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not 1, not 2, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues. Thank you for your patience and understanding.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the most condescending, rude email you've ever received?
Well, welcome to
National
the third
news.
term of a certain president. I really believe that.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
It's Flag Day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have yours flying out there. I sure do. And you know what? It's a great day to just check out the history of the flag. When you think of the flag, what did they teach you in school, right? They taught you about Betsy Ross. Well, Betsy Ross House is what we're going to get a chance to visit with right now. The Betsy Ross House is in Philadelphia, and one of the most popular historic attractions. Only Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell, both run by National Parks, outdraw it. So they've got a little advantage there. The Betsy Ross House is the former owned home of famed Quaker flag maker, of course, Betsy Ross. Lisa Acker Moulder joins us right now. She's the director. She's the boss when it comes to it. Lisa, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thank you for having me.
So I don't know when you first started, but I know this. It would be, if I was hired to be the director of the Betsy Ross House, I'd be intimidated with all that history and what must have happened in that house. I mean, what does it feel like every day you go to work?
It's funny. I have an intern who just started with me a few weeks ago, and she's in awe of everything she gets to do. In preparation for Flag Day, I think it was on Friday, I actually took her into the rooms to clean up the rooms, to do some dusting and vacuuming, since it's been a while, heavily visited historic site, so the rooms get a little dusty. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Betsy was in this room. And I'm like, I've been here for 20 years, and sometimes I forget how special it is because, this is like my second home. I'm here every day, but just experiencing the house again through the eyes of my 19-year-old intern, it just reminded me, this is a really, really special job. And I'm super, super lucky to be able to share Betsy's story and the stories of other 18th century middle-class women.
Well, I'm sorry that I got the date wrong. I do know this. I had my new flags up this weekend, in particular, mostly for that, so I should have nailed it. But Lisa, talk to me about the house and the history of the house. Go back in time and walk us through that, would you?
Sure. So let's start with Betsy's time here at the house. So she only lived here for 3 years, from 1776 to 1779. But those years were pivotal in her life because those were the years, according to her family, in which she was approached by George Washington, Robert Morris, and George Ross and asked to stitch an American flag. She'd never made one before, but she was an upholsterer, so she had the skills and the supplies needed to make a flag. And she also had a history with George Washington, because when he was in Philadelphia for the First Continental Congress in 1774, he actually commissioned her and her husband, who were brand new upholsterers, just going out and doing their upholstery shop on their own because they had just finished up their apprenticeship. He hired them to make bed curtains for Mount Vernon, which was a huge commission, a lot of money for these fledgling upholsterers, and, you know, the chance to, make bed curtains for General Washington was, incredible for these new upholsterers. So George Washington was familiar with her work and must have thought that she would have done a good job with the flag making. So they visited her in her upholstery shop one day in 1776. She understood the importance of their visit, and these men, would not have visited her unless they had an important reason. So she took them back to the parlor of the house, which is where she would have entertained her important guests, and they would have had a little bit more privacy. And then that's when George Washington showed her the design of the flag, and she agreed to take on the commission. The interesting thing, and I think the thing that most people don't think about, is that stitching that first American flag was an act of treason. So this was a really dangerous job that she was doing. So she would have had to do it in the privacy of her bedchamber, because during the day she had an upholstery business, and there were other people living in Philadelphia at the time who were loyal to the British, so she wouldn't be making it in the open of her upholstery shop. She would have done it at night, after hours, in the privacy of her bedchamber, when she wouldn't have the public coming into her upholstery shop. If she was caught making this rebel flag, she could have been, at the very least, imprisoned, maximum sentence executed. So, we don't know if she did it because she was a patriotic American and if she felt this was her duty, or if she needed the money, to be quite honest, and this was a commission, or maybe it was a little bit of both. I'd like to think that it was both.
The other part is, in those days, I think it would have been really hard to say no to George Washington. I mean, if he walked in and said, look, Betsy, I need you. I need you to do this. I think it would have been really hard to say no to him.
I agree. Yeah. And like I said, she, I forgot to mention that she was recently widowed when she was visited by these three men. They were in the middle of the war. The war was picking up, so she wasn't getting the upholstery jobs that she had gotten previously, that fed her and clothed her and kept her house. So she would have needed to make some money. So this commission would have been an important one for her.
So when she did this, obviously, instantly, there was going to be a need for more. Now, we understand how flags are mass produced, and we understand the science that went behind it. But how did they get made?
Yeah, there were lots of women like Betsy Ross who were taking on government commissions. So, not only were they making flags, they were making uniforms, tents. Betsy even took on a commission of making musket cartridges for the Pennsylvania militia. So Betsy wasn't alone. There were a lot of women in Philadelphia and throughout the colonies who were taking on government commissions to help in the war effort.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's such a rich part of history, and obviously the job she did was fabulous. And I'm coming back again. I want my grandkids to see it. So I really appreciate you coming on with us, Lisa.
Great. One quick thing I wanted to mention, that for Flag Day, we assembled a flag out of 27,000 M&Ms, which is on display from today through July 4th. And it's really fun. People have been coming in throughout the day, marveling over it, and it's interesting. Those people who are not necessarily history buffs were lured in by the M&M flag, and then they're taking the tour of the house and talk about how the experience has been wonderful overall. But if you look it up, I know we've made a lot of press with this M&M flag. It's really, really impressive and massive and quite an undertaking, but it was a lot of fun.
I bet you it was. Obviously, we're not all going to be there to see it. I mean, where do we go online? What do we do?
You can go to historicphiladelphia.org and find all the information about our Flag Festival, which we're celebrating all week, all of our summer events, operating hours, and learn a little bit about the history of Betsy Ross and Betsy Ross House on there as well.
Well, great job. Great job. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can tell she loves her job. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, Dr. Edward Peters is going to join us. Let's talk about data protection. Let's talk about cybersecurity when we come back on our trip down the road.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new KEYZ Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called KEYZ. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My KEYZ sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow KEYZ Dream Sheets. KEYZ Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money.
So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more. Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after-hours oasis of sanity. How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having Lee Stack and Sid and Marty Croft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Welcome back to Down the Road. Dr. Edward Peters is a nationally known cybersecurity expert and the Chief Innovation Officer at Panzera, a company with unique approach to ransomware attacks. We've been seeing this a lot in the news, including a self-healing file system and that continuously backs itself up. Dr. Peters, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
This is playing out all over the news. This is something that I have no doubt you always knew was a real issue out there and was going to become more of an issue, and that more work needed to be done in this area. But for the general public, I don't think we knew about it. Everybody was picking around the edges, speculating, but was this needed to wake people up, I guess is the question I should ask.
Well, I think we all tend to get a bit lax when it comes to security. And it's another case of, well, it's never going to happen to me, or that's somebody else's problem. But the issue with all the interconnectedness there is today is that now it's everybody's problem. And the more intelligent networks get, the more we continue to bring those devices into our houses, the more we connect into various networks with smart devices, the problem just explodes exponentially.
So explain to me what self-healing means. So if you have a self-healing filing system that, I know what continually backs itself up is, but self-healing, how do you go about that?
Well, that's where when you start to understand that an attack is underway, the system starts to move backwards in time to the point of last integrity from where the snapshot hadn't yet occurred, if you will. And then from there, it starts to look at all of the data that may have potentially been infected and starts to look at those files and put in place a series of protocols that actually starts to heal the data and restore those files and brings you back to that point in time before that attack happened.
Now, obviously, this has played out a lot between Russia and the U.S. And, you know, many of those fingers are pointing towards Russia. The G7 is going on right now, and there are conversations going on between President Biden and President Putin. What do you look to? I mean, as you watch these meetings, what's the red flags for you, and what are the, hey, there's maybe a little hope in the air?
Well, I think an international focus on being able to, one, try to prevent the criminals from launching the attacks is more than welcome. And if people know that they can be captured and they will be punished, that would be a wonderful step forward as well. As we see, we really don't know where these attacks come from. I mean, people point fingers at Russia, but they could be from anywhere. They could be coming in from a server that looks like it's Russia. It could be anything. Recently, the FBI on the Colonial Pipeline attack was able to claw back millions of dollars that were paid in ransomware because as they were able to trace the attack down the chain, they actually saw that it hit a server, a public exchange server where things could be exchanged into cash, and they were able to trace that back to the wallet and find exactly who did it. So it's hard to know. Was that Russia? Was that somebody else? Was it somebody in some, other country that does not have extradition? Very difficult. So as we start to close the loopholes for people where they can launch these attacks from places where we can't necessarily get to them, the more we can close those windows, the better. So I'm encouraged that the discussion is even going on.
You say, and a big part of that was for people to know they're being punished. But part of the conversation between President Biden and President Putin is an exchange of prisoners, which shocked me a lot. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but what does your company think about that?
Well, we don't get involved in the law enforcement side of it, right? So we're thrilled for whatever agreements they can make with each other. We're focused on understanding when an attack occurs on you and your organization, how do we limit both the scope of the damage it can cause and how do we dramatically shorten your time to recovery? Because that's really the issue. The issue is really, once an attack is underway, now what do you do? Because obviously they prey on the confusion that they cause in your organization. They prey on the fact that you probably might not have a complete plan in place for understanding, where all your data might be. And while you're in that point of confusion, it's that time window that allows them to start spreading rapidly through your organization. So we focus on time boxing that attack into understanding when it's underway, limiting the scope, and then giving you a rapid time for recovery. There's a million ways people can penetrate your organization, and there are companies out there doing a great job to put up those barriers. All it takes is one person that clicked on one email that's been waiting or just sitting in your server somewhere to get activated, and off it goes.
I realize that each case is probably different, but to have people paying ransom, that just left me shaking my head. I mean, are we really to that point where somebody can't come in and say, look, you can do this all you want, you may shut us down for a day or two, but to get to the point where you're paying ransom, is that something that you'd ever recommend to a client?
Well, I don't ever get to that point. I mean, with our technology, no one's ever had to pay a ransom. But if this happens, one should immediately think about contacting the FBI I mean, there is what they call it's IC3. It's the Internet and Infrastructure Complaint. Sarah, you can look on the FBI website, ic3.gov, and there are things you should do just because this is kidnapping, and it's kidnapping your organization's ability to continue in the marketplace. Just as soon as you would have kidnapped 3 or 4 of the or one of the executives. Same idea. There's value here, and they keep you from being able to execute in the market by locking up your access to your data. Some studies have shown that organizations that are locked out for more than 10 days only have a 7% chance of surviving to the next year.
Well,
so it's very scary.
Is this something where the U.S. should send a message? Because obviously, if they have that type of technology and knowledge, we do. There are people quite bright in these industries. I mean, should we do an attack on Russia so that Russia says, "Why do we pick in this fight?" For example.
Well, that one's way above my pay grade.
Okay.
But what I would say is that it's very clear. You need to understand where the attack came from. Do you really know that's where the attack came from before we respond to things that kick off a chain of tit-for-tat events, which none of us want to be involved in?
I got to tell you, Dr. Peters, this could go on forever, this conversation, because it's so deep. Thank you, sir, for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
When we come back, we'll have some closing comments for you as we finish our trip down the road.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree Dental Card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree Dental Card, you save $525. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree Dental Card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Spas, etc.
You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you could pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Elmiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Elmiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
You know, for many of you that are watching, a handshake's supposed to mean something, right? You shake hands, and that means you can trust me, and I'm as good as my word. Well, in the United States' case, with President Biden at the G7 summit, are we as good as our word? You know, how do you work with a country as big and as powerful as the U.S. if every administration we're going to be not just a little bit different, we're going to be 180 degrees different? I don't know how you do it. I mean, do we have partners in peace that are going to trust us? Let me give you an example. President Obama, you know, works on a deal with and that affects climate change. Now, the Paris Accord was not anything that dictated or mandated to the U.S. that you would have to do things in a certain way. It just said these are goals. These are things that we hope to accomplish and to get carbon reduced by a certain date. Now, the one thing I had a chance on radio to visit with Congressman Kelly Armstrong, and I asked him if he believed in climate change. And he does. He said, yes, I do. Now, he's on one side of the aisle, and I'm on the other side of the aisle. So let's acknowledge that there are people from both sides of the aisle that understand and appreciate the fact there's climate change. Now, what do you do about it? Well, the Paris Accord was goals. It was goals that each country could get back to another day and say, okay, how are we doing on all this? It was a way of putting a barometer out there. Well, President Obama does this. The first thing President Trump does is get rid of it. Walks in to all of those countries that signed onto that accord and says, nope, and he's the only one that breaks away from it. He's done. He ends up being a one-term president, and what happens? President Biden comes in and says, we agree with it. We're going back to it. My point is this, not to criticize what Trump did or what Biden did, but to show that as a country, we are probably not as good as that handshake is. And so as the G7 goes on, you have to ask yourself, if I am France, if I am the United Kingdom, if I am any one of those countries, and they come in and say, look, here's what we should do. I have this plan. I think it's something that all of us can agree with. Let's work towards it. If you're sitting down with the United States, I think you'd look them in the eye and say, hey, can I trust you to keep your word on it this time? It'll be interesting to see. Good riding with you, folks.